The coming year is likely to bring more painful surprises. Are you ready? Do you have a plan in case of food shortages, power outages, emergency evacuations, mandates? You should always prepare before these things strike. That's why I recommend getting emergency food from My Patriot Supply. They're America's #1 preparedness company with several million happy, well-prepared customers. Their food lasts up to 25 years in storage. It's like a survival insurance policy you can eat when you need it. It will be there. Right now, you'll save $100 on a 3-month emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply. This kit can get you through any difficulties ahead. You get breakfast, lunch, dinner, and drinks, averaging over 2,000 calories a day. These food kits from My Patriot Supply are selling fast, so hurry and act. Go to preparewiththinkaboutit.com and save $100 on your 3-month food kit. That's preparewiththinkaboutit.com. To avoid what happens after disaster strike, act now. Preparewiththinkaboutit.com. Hi, Steve here. I've said it before, but it becomes even clearer as I read the book of Enoch why Satan wanted this book removed from the Bible. And it only happened around 500 years ago that the so-called religious leaders decided to remove it. It's really amazing to me that the prophet Enoch, being the very first prophet, was shown so many things. And in chapter 93, Enoch explains the entire history of mankind and on into eternity. He breaks it up into what he called the 10 weeks. And it says Enoch gave and began to recount from the books he wrote. And he is literally telling all the children who will dwell on the earth and for the future generations who will observe uprightness in peace. History is explained. The first week was while judgment and righteousness still endured. See, there was a time before that there was righteousness on the earth. The second week was when great wickedness arose and deceit sprung up, and he said, in it there will be the first end. The first end describes the flood, when all of mankind was destroyed except for Noah and his family. He said, and in that time a man will be saved, and after that ends, unrighteousness will grow up, and the law will be made for the sinners. That describes what sounds like the law of Moses and the 10 Commandments being given to the children of Israel. After that, in the third week, at its close, a man will be elected as the plant of righteous judgment, and his posterity will become the plant of righteousness forever. This describes the Messiah coming to earth. It describes Jesus Christ. And in the fourth week, at its close, visions of the holy and righteous will be seen, and a law for all generations, and an enclosure shall be made for them. And after that, in the fifth week, at its close, the house of glory and dominion will be built forever. After that, in the sixth week, all who live in it will be blinded, and the hearts of all them will godlessly forsake wisdom. And in it a man shall ascend, and at its close the house of dominion will be burned with fire, and the whole race of the chosen root will be dispersed. This describes exactly what happened when Jesus rose from the dead and returned to heaven to sit at the right hand of the throne of Father God. And Israel was invaded 70 years later and dispersed all over the earth. After that, in the seventh week, shall an apostate generation arise, and many will be its deeds, and all its deeds will be apostate. This is what the Apostle Paul told the Thessalonian believers. Don't let anyone deceive you in any way, for that day will not come, the day of the Lord will not come unless the apostasy comes first, and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the man doomed to destruction. He told Timothy, now the Spirit explicitly says that in the latter times some will depart from the faith, paying attention to deceitful spirits and the teachings of demons. And he said in his second letter to Timothy, but know this, hard times will come in the last days. For people will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, demeaning, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, unloving, irreconcilable, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, without love for what is good, traitors, reckless, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, holding to a form of godliness but denying its power. Avoid these people. Paul was describing what Enoch described as the seventh week. We are entering the last days of the seventh week. Enoch said, after that there will be another, the eighth week, that of righteousness, and the sword will be given to it, that a righteous judgment may be executed on the oppressors. Sounds like Revelation chapter 19 to me. Revelation 19, verses 17 through 21, describe the beast and its armies defeated. And after that, in the ninth week, the righteous judgment will be revealed to the whole world, and all the works of the godless will vanish from all the earth, and the world will be written down for destruction. This describes Revelation 21. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And after this, in the 10th week, in the 7th part, there will be the great eternal judgment, in which he will execute vengeance among the angels. And the first heaven will depart and pass away, and a new heaven will appear. And all the powers of the heavens will give sevenfold light. And after that, there will be many weeks without number forever. And all will be in goodness and righteousness, and sin will no more be mentioned forever. The 10th week would be describing after the millennial reign of Christ on the earth and the final white throne judgment before eternity future begins. We can see that in chapter 21 of Revelation. The nations will walk by its light, and the kings of the earth will bring their glory into it. Its gates will never close by day, because it will never be night there. This was the man only 7 generations from Adam, and God showed him the entire history of mankind. And as you can tell, we're very close to the beginning of the end, and the beginning of a future under the lordship and rulership of the Lord of Lords and King of Kings. If you have never made Jesus Christ the Lord of your life, and you want to, there's a link in the description box below that you can click on to pray a simple prayer to ask Him into your heart. Go down there now and click on that link and pray this prayer with me. Think about it.